Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. This is episode 63. Man, can you believe it? We are 63 episodes in. First off, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. That is my normal co-host is not with me today, Mr. Glenn Shelton. Difficulty with travel, which I'll get into a little bit. Nothing super, extravagant in terms of reasons why he's not here today. As many of you know, the last couple of days we were at the seven-figure playbook event that we were co-hosting with Chase Gruning out in Nashville, Tennessee. And long story short, Glenn's travel arrangements got kind of screwed up. And he did not end up getting home last night until almost about 2 a.m. Now, Glenn is on Pacific Standard Time. The normal show start time goes at about 8 a.m. his time, Pacific Standard Time. So little tricky, little difficult. And I told him, listen, dude, don't even worry about it. I can hold the show down today. So I wanted to kind of start off the show before we bring in our guest, and we have an amazing guest for you guys today. If you like Facebook ads, if you want to know more about Facebook ads, if you want to, learn more about marketing, lead generation for your business, that you control from top to bottom, this is the show for you. Our guest is someone who's been a longtime friend, Shauna Thoresen, and Social Waves Media. And I'll be bringing her on in just a second here. Before I do that, though, I wanted to quickly discuss and just kind of give you guys a little bit of a quick recap of the seven-figure playbook event, which I am typically known to do post-events. Okay, for any of you that I did get the opportunity to spend some time with in person, I enjoyed getting to see you, and I certainly appreciate you guys traveling out to Nashville. I know the bulk of people, from my understanding, that came to that event came because Glenn and I were there. You heard about it from us. And so we certainly appreciate that. We know, you have choices when it comes to events that you can go to. And we don't take it for granted by any means that you choose an event that we are either hosting or co-hosting to make that decision on. Because certainly there's plenty of events every year that you can go to. I thought it was a very, very solid event. I thought it was a great lineup of speakers. I thought that the content was very, very strong, and we got a lot of positive feedback on that. I thought Glenn's presentation, if you did see it live, knocked it out of the park. That was probably as good as I've ever seen him speak, and he's a very, very good presenter from stage. I very much thought his presentation was just terrific. So shout out to Glenn there. Really just talking about delegation, protecting your time, how much your time is worth, how to use and scale with virtual assistants. And really, he's the best in the business, right, in terms of that specific topic. Nashville, I've gotten some questions from agents like, what did you think of Nashville? Well, truth be told, I didn't see that much of Nashville. This was by definition a work trip. We were in Saturday night, worked all day Sunday, worked all day Monday and Tuesday for the most part. And then Tuesday, of course, later in the day, we proceeded to head back. So we didn't get a lot of time to be tourist necessarily. But from what I did see, it was a beautiful city. I'd love to go back for pleasure next time and, get to see a little bit more around. I feel like this event was very unique. It was very cozy. There was probably, if you're taking out speakers and staff and members and things like that, there was probably 80 to 85 people there that bought tickets. So very intimate, very cozy. I felt like it created the opportunity for people to be able to network, engage, and spend real quality time with everybody, which you don't get in an event that has 1,000 people at it, 1,500 people at it, even the summit to some extent, right? The summit last year probably had 350 people total at it. A little tricky to to spend time with everyone you want to spend time with. And so, you kind of got that intimate feeling from this event. But yeah, it's good to be home. It's good to be back in Salt Lake City. I landed back home last night at about 9 o'clock. I got home, meaning I'm walking in the door. I got home about 8 o'clock. But 9 o'clock at night, got to spend some time with the fam, as they say. And then I'm here back at work, back at the office, ready to rock and roll, ready to go. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of just take some time and just kind of give you guys a little bit of a recap of how the event went. We had a good time. Event was good. Now we're ready to, focus on our event coming up, the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit, which the guest I have that's going to be joining me today is a speaker of in Shauna. She was a speaker last year, got great reviews and feedback from her presentation. She has a knack for explaining marketing and Facebook ads in a way that is very easily understandable and digestible in Shauna. So I'm going to bring her up to the stage on the show, and we will get started, my friends, discussing Facebook ads. And there she is. Good morning, Shauna.
Good morning, Christian.
How is your day? How are you this morning?
I'm actually great this morning. And I really appreciate what you said about breaking basically complex strategies down into little bite-sized pieces. And I have come to grow the confidence to say confidently that I am really good at that. And I think that part of where that comes from is because this is not a space that came natural to me. When you really suck at math and you get a math teacher that just like math is their passion and it's just natural, it's hard to relate with them versus when you get a math teacher that hated math but has figured it out and now they can break it down. And like a lot of insurance agents, I also reinvented myself in 2015 and went from doing, which I talked about at the 7-Figure Medicare Summit, went from training animals at SeaWorld to saying, I'm going to have an online business.
Which
and
that was crazy for me. I never knew that about you, so but then I could see it. You know what I mean? Like the more I thought about it, I was like, I could see her doing that. I could see her being good at that too,
Thank you.
I feel like, that is such an important key because I have grown over the years to understand that the better you understand something, the better you can explain it. And I think that's one thing where things get lost. I gave a talk at this event that we just came back from. And one thing I said in my presentation was, the person that makes it the easiest for somebody is the person who's the most valuable, not the person that maybe knows the most. I think in your case, it's a combination, right? You know a tremendous amount, but you're also good at articulating it in a way. But like, it needs to be explained like it could be explained to a middle schooler, right? Or a high schooler or something like that. Like it needs to be easily digestible and easy to understand. So Shauna, for anybody that doesn't know you, of course, you're a friend of the Facebook group. You are, someone that I've had on, my platform several times. Can you give us an introduction of you and how you got into doing insurance marketing and just kind of your whole backstory a little bit, just in case anybody doesn't know you?
Yes, of course. So I first started entering the online space and learning about online marketing in 2015. And then in 2017 is when I really got more into the ad space and started my agency, Social Waves Media, and taking on private clients. And I always specialized in lead generation. I am familiar with running e-commerce ads, but I'll be the first to tell you that's not my expertise. It's in actually generating leads and nurturing that relationship. And then in 2022 is when I was first introduced to your world. I had a trainer from another FMO come to me and asked me to do an ad audit. He was already running his own ads in the Medicare and ACA space. He asked me to do an ad audit. And within that 1 hour, we made a few tweaks that reduced his cost per lead by 75%. And
wow.
made him very excited and started sharing with other people. And then I did the one thing that I said I would never do, which is create a Facebook ad course. I used to say these people that have a Facebook ad course are crazy because it is a living, breathing entity. If you actually care about your students' results, you have to stay on top of the changes.
Right.
And boy, have we had some changes that specifically affect your industry. But yeah, in 2022, I launched my first version of my course, Insurance Click to Close. It has grown over the years. It has evolved. It has changed just like Facebook ads have. And now I specialize most of my time working with agents in Medicare, ACA, also life insurance. I have agents that are in final expense and across all lines of business. So I've really just kind of found a home and really just enjoyed working with the agents that have been attracted to my style of teaching. And it's been great.
Absolutely. And I've said this, I say this pretty much every time we have you on any show of ours, but like, I was and am a client. I bought your program, Insurance Click to Close, and because I am always looking to level up in my own right, and sometimes I will buy something and maybe like it reiterates some things I already knew, right? Like I'm not a beginner marketer by any means, right? I've done it for years, I've for many years I've done all the marketing for my agency. Now I have Glenn, we have someone on staff that specifically does Facebook ads. That's all they do. So I'm not doing it all like I used to, but I'm far from a beginner. So sometimes I'll buy a course and, it might reiterate something I knew, but I didn't really learn anything. Your program was one of the few when I got into it a couple of years ago where I did learn several things I didn't know before. I'm like, oh, I never thought about doing it that way. I'm like, that's an interesting perspective, and, implementing some of it and seeing positive results basically immediately. I'm like, she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. And some of those programs are so hard to go through. They're just boring as watching wallpaper dry. They're hard to follow. It's like, you'll go through like the most important part and it's like, and do this. And it's like next to the next video. It's like, huh? Like what, where was I? What happened? You do such a good job, I feel like, of breaking it down in a lot of detail, making it easy to understand, like I said earlier, but like you really provide the step by step that I think a lot of people need. And that's why I've been such a big believer of your program for several years now. And I've been a big advocate of it and you and everything that you do. Let's talk a little bit about, because you mentioned the changes, right, in the Facebook algorithm. Can you go into a little bit of the weeds in terms of what those changes are and what agents need to know about them?
Yes, definitely. So the biggest change that whether you're running Facebook ads or not, that most agents have heard is that Meta decided to categorize insurance as a special ad category. And basically what that means is Meta created the special ad category to prevent discrimination from specific opportunities. And that makes sense whenever you're talking about like career or like loan opportunities or job or housing. It doesn't really make sense in the insurance space, especially with Medicare. What that essentially did was it still allows us to control things like the state you're targeting, the city. You've got interest targeting. We can control where our ad shows up on the platform, which is a big deal. And then the biggest thing is your ad creatives. You still can control those, but it does remove certain things like zip code targeting. You can't lock in an age and you can't lock in a gender, which I can understand from a very surface level that sounds absolutely terrifying. And also in your industry, there's a lot of experts out there that I feel purposefully complicate this. So that way they still have an opportunity to either produce leads in the way that they're doing or to sell a service where what they're going to do is onboard you, outsource you to people that are normally in a different country that have the one ad creative they're going to set up for every account very generically.
Right.
So I understand why it sounds, especially when these marketers are talking about interest targeting and layering and niche targeting. The reality is our algorithm has changed. The content finds the user. I was using as an example the other day that I watched a video of a jumping spider. It was kind of cute. Like, what can I say? Next thing I know, my news feed is filled. Like I'm going from like business and like political and like thought provoking to like jumping spiders. And it caught on. Like this girl's watching jumping spiders. We're going to match her up with it. So the content's going to find the user. So with the right strategies, you still can get your content served to the senior population. And I mean, the senior population, I just was looking at the stats from January of this year, and it's saying that there's about 28.2 million active users in the United States over 65.
That's a big number.
Over 65. Yes, there's 250 million users in the United States. So your audience is there. Meta wants to match you up with it. And that's why when I did my most recent update to the course in the end of January, beginning of February, I have included a bonus. It's called the Lead Conversion Toolkit that actually gives you plug and play templates for you to utilize for a lead magnet, specifically for T65, for Medicare, for life, and then also the ad copy for that matches the lead magnet, but also can be used. We've got ones that are specific for Book Now that you would use for AAP or Q4. So having that killer content is what's still going to get you in front of the right population, along with a couple of other strategies.
Yeah. I want to mention this just to make sure that we do right before we get too deep into the episode. There's a ton of conversation I want to have with you kind of related to this and bring a lot of value to everybody that's watching. But your program, Insurance Click to Close, is on sale this week, right? Talk about that a little bit. What is it priced at this week versus the normal pricing? And then for anybody that's watching live in the Facebook stream, I'm going to throw a link to it just in case you wanted to take a look at it and kind of look into it if you wanted to kind of get into it. This is a program that I've bought myself, and I did not get it on a discount. I paid the full price, baby. Which I still
remember
regret.
when you bought it, because I was like, oh, who's this person that bought it for this price? And I was like, oh, I think he's actually someone in this space that has experience.
Which I don't regret, by the way. Like I said, I bought courses for more that I learned nothing from. But anyway, I'm going to throw that link in the Facebook stream. But talk about it a little bit. Like, what is the normal price and what is it this week for Insurance to Click to Close?
Yes. So the information page that Christian is popping in there is full of information because I want you to feel confident before you decide to enroll. So if you have a question, you want to see a walkthrough of what's inside, it's on that page. But basically right now, when you enroll in Insurance Click to Close, I'm providing a $500 voucher, which I do sometimes a couple of times a year. The normal investment price is $1,497. It's been priced that since the end of 22, which is what you actually purchased it at, Christian. But if you enroll today and before Friday, it expires on March 1st, you can lock in lifetime access for $997. But because of all of the additional tools that have been added, there's also going to be a price increase. So the new price for locking in lifetime access is $1,997. So right now is the last chance to lock it in at $997. And I have agents that are in your group that have enrolled that I love, that they will vouch for me and say, she really does keep the course up to date. She really does email us. I enrolled in 22. I enrolled in 23, and it's still a living, breathing entity. It's my number one priority. I will tell my husband when Meta has an update, like, I'm going to be locked in my office for a week because I feel the weight of any agent that has trusted me enough to keep this up to date to make sure that I actually do that. So right now, if you enroll, you can check it out. That $500 voucher's on there. It will expire. If you reach out to me on Saturday, one of my team members is going to say, we're really sorry. We focus on honesty and integrity, and that has to do with even our offers. So buy this Friday and you get access to additional resources like the lead conversion toolkit with the plug and play. I even created a course that is for people that are like, I don't even know how to scroll through Instagram. It's like the beginner, the prequel before getting in, where I walk you through kind of the basics. So I'm super excited for you guys to get access to that. The plug and play templates, they're great.
I love it. Let's talk a little bit about like where Meta ads, Facebook ads is today. right? Like, would you say that it is the easiest way today for an agent to do their own advertising, or the most effective way, or the easiest for someone to break into, compared to, say, Google ads, or, other types of social media ads? I know some agents that run some LinkedIn ads and swear by them. Certainly there's a place, I think, for everything, but Facebook ads seems to be like, what, and it's out of all of those, by the way, we run ads on all those platforms internally. Of all the ad platforms that we've ever used, we've never had more success on anything than Facebook, for sure. Would you say that that's an accurate statement? Like, if you want to get into running ads and let's say you don't have experience, Facebook's going to be the easiest and probably most efficient path?
In my experience, I 100% believe that Meta, being on Facebook and Instagram, is the best platform for insurance agents, irregardless of if you're running ads or not. And then it sets you up to run ads.
Mm-hmm.
And the other nice thing is, if you understand the nuances of Facebook ads, you will be able to figure out how to run ads on LinkedIn, on TikTok.
Yes.
Now, Google's kind of its whole other thing. And here's a little bold statement alert. Google ads are about to become the yellow pages of this generation. They are. If you Google something right now, Google's AI summary is taking up the majority of the space. So your sponsored post is underneath. And the other thing is, there's a difference for optimizing for clicks to get people to click over to your page and take a look and get a little brand awareness, versus purposefully creating content to collect their information and be able to reach out to them afterwards. So Meta by far is the best for that. YouTube is a whole nother string of, I have lots of, prior to this, I also was running equally parts of YouTube ads, and that's changed a lot over the years as well. But the nice thing about Meta, you have the direct messaging where someone can direct message you. You can't do that on YouTube. And it's just a great way to get in front of your ideal audience, and with the purpose to collect information and not just get a click.
Yeah. I totally agree. And, I think anytime that I've noticed, and I know you have as well, anytime I've noticed a platform, specifically Facebook / Meta, whatever, we're going to call it. The technical term is Meta, isn't it? I still say Facebook all the time. It's old habits, but but anytime they make a big algorithm change, usually the people that are able to adapt and get ahead of it do extremely well, because everyone else is still running ads in a way to where they haven't figured it out yet. Like, one thing I've noticed, and I don't know if you have noticed this, but I 100% have, since this new update happened, I am getting all of the insurance ads for people turning 65, like me. And so, like, to me, what that tells me is this episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by the 7 Figure Medicare Agent Summit. Guys, it is a fact that getting around other people that are chasing the same ambitions and destinations in their business as you is a great thing, and it can propel your business years ahead than not getting around people and networking and going to live events. The 7 Figure Medicare Agent Summit is the premier event. Every year we hear, year after year after year, that it is the event that has the best content. So many events nowadays, they do a lot of pitching from the stage. They're really just there to sell you things. And if nothing more than that, they're just a bunch of vendors put together and they're just nothing but networking. There's no content. The summit is the best of both worlds, you guys. The summit puts together great, fantastic speakers from all ends of the industry, and also get you in a room with like-minded individuals from all over the country that are trying to build their business just like you. The summit this year is taking place in Salt Lake City from June 22nd to 24th at the Hilton Hotel. We still have tickets available. We'd love to have you come out for the event. We are over 50% sold out at the time of recording this, but get your ticket now while you can. This event will sell out, and we'd love to see you there in Salt Lake City. there's something you could be doing better in your ad, because by showing it to me, a 32-year-old man living in Utah, some of you are in Kansas or, Wyoming with all 6 people there, South Carolina, whatever, right? Missouri. And you're targeting specifically to that area, but you're showing it to me, someone who's not eligible, like you're wasting money and showing it to me. And that leads me to believe, because I saw some of it from time to time previously to the update, but now I see it constantly all day, every day. I get more of that than anything. And that leads me to believe that there is a lot of, I guess, misunderstanding, right? Of like the best way to be running ads right now. And maybe you can't prevent that all the way with this new update, right? You're limited on age targeting and things like that. But I don't know. It just makes me think that like the people that figure it out early are going to really, really do well with the ads probably over the next year.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a couple of things. First, there's actionable strategies that you can implement right now that will help get your ads served to the demographic that you want. So if we're talking specifically the senior demographic, one, when it is not, there's not a time urgency and you're running T65 ads, utilizing a lead magnet has really cut cost. And what I mean by a lead magnet is it's a valuable piece of content. So like a guide, a checklist, something that's easily digested by them. And it also gives them an opportunity to interact with you out of curiosity, which is not a commitment to a big consult. So that provides value and also sets you up as an advisor. 2, using conditional logic on your forms. So there is a way that you can set up your form where if someone answers one way, they don't become a lead. They answer another way, they do become a lead. And when it comes to setting up a T65 ad, when a user comes in, not only is that a higher quality lead because we've kind of qualified them in a compliant manner, but it also teaches the algorithm, this person did not become a lead, this person did become a lead. And just because we as advertisers can't control specific targeting does not mean it's not at play. The algorithm still knows all the things. It knows I watch jumping spiders on occasion. So it's going to pop that in until I finally make a cognizant decision. Don't watch a Britney Spears video or else that's all you're going to get in your newsfeed. Like it just catches on so quickly and you're like, okay, I don't need this all the time. So having that conditional logic form. And then the biggest thing, Christian, is the ad messaging. When we are targeting to a broad audience, we must be specific in our messaging. And it needs to be so specific that the 22-year-old, when they're served this T65 ad, immediately scroll past it. They want nothing to do with it. While other people that are 63, 64 start interacting with it. And then the algorithm's going to be like, okay, I get it. And then there's the added layer of having an established account. It's just true. When these changes happen, I don't even notice it in some of my clients' accounts that I've managed for years because we already have a very seasoned account and the algorithm's already kind of on to who our ideal client is. So it takes time. This is not I'm going to buy this course. I'm going to walk through in a week. I'm going to pop ads up and never, ever have to look at it ever again. It's not. It's an evolving thing, just like marketing always is going to be. It's an evolving entity.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I had a conversation recently with my wife about, she was complaining about things she was seeing on her news feed for Facebook. And I'm like, she's like, I don't know why I'm seeing this. So I'm like taking a look at it and it's like, it's just like one of them was like a depressing post of some kind. I won't go into the details. Some story, something that happened in the country. It's like, oh, that's a bummer. I don't want to see that. I'm like, well, you're being shown it because you have looked for things that is leading the algorithm to believe that you want to see that stuff. She's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, there's no denying it. It's, recently there's something you either clicked on or looked at or whatever the case might be. I'm like, you're being shown what you're telling it that you want to be shown. And, I'm trying to explain this to her and she was like, I don't think it's as sophisticated as you think it is. I'm like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, it is more sophisticated than probably me or you or, anything. Like it's an animal. And so I think that's really important to keep in mind when agents are putting together their ads. Like, you have to be so intentional on your messaging, like you said, on your ad copy. And I think that will really bode well in helping your results, continue being what they were, or maybe even being better than what they were. I mean, do you think agents that adapt to this can potentially have better results with their ads than they did before the update, doing it maybe the old way?
I absolutely do. I mean, my hope is that these big, like, scammy agencies that we all know are out there that run these ads or that run them off of pages that they shouldn't even be running ads, they're typically really generic ads. Like, they're typically like, "Hey, do you want Medicare? We have it." Like, they're very generic. I hope that this gives the opportunity for the good agents to rise to the top. I have seen that. And I will say, don't fight the future, because the future will always win. And we are moving into a future that we are inundated with information. And the way you're going to stand out is to become an advisor and to be viewed as an advisor. And that does not mean turning on an ad and instantly having revenue that just like magically flows in. It is a process of establishing yourself online and your best content. And I tell agents, you're more than capable of doing this. Your lead generation strategies are not overly complicated. We're not setting up this entire crazy, insane layered approach. This is something you can do. And if you decide to outsource it, like I have agents in my course that have a team member that they're like, I bought the course, but I'm going to have this team member move through it, and it's going to get help in your membership and, get this set up. You can do that, or you can outsource someone that's going to be more cost effective, but you're going to know how to manage them. You're going to know how to manage them. It always has surprised me that in your industry, I heard nonstop, like, you're told you can learn this very complicated industry. You can learn this crazy, like, you guys have so many things you have to stay on top of. You can't learn marketing. No, like, don't worry about it until you're like talking to the person and this is how you sell to them. No, you can warm them up beforehand. And when they come in and they've already seen you as an advisor, they've gotten a whiff of your perfume or cologne passing them by on social media, and then they got hit with an ad, and now they're given value, and now you're sending them an email. They view you differently. They're going to trust you. So I 100% think that with these changes, and now's the time to start. Like, yesterday would have been better, but now is the best time to start. So it's just about getting going. Your best content isn't there yet. You haven't reached your full potential yet in any of these areas. You got to start now to get there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I couldn't agree more with you. I wanted to take a second. Let's talk a little bit about, for anybody that might be watching this and they're not as familiar with kind of, some tactics that have been used in our industry by marketing agencies. You'd mentioned it a couple of times. I wanted to go a little deeper into that because I think it's such an important topic. So like and it's been going on for a long time at this point, but they're still, they still have people that are doing a lot of business with them. And it's crazy to me because, I'm a big believer, and I know you are too, that, making your ad unique to you and to your business and to your brand is very important because you stand out. If you're a copycat of a million other people that are running the same ad, it's really hard to stand out. There's so many of these marketers that will run ads for people that you literally will use the same image, the same 2 or 3 images, the same 2 or 3 ad copies for like 200 different client accounts, right? And so you're running your ad and it looks like, and then like I've seen scenarios as radical at times where someone would be getting targeted by one of these ads and they'll like they'll like record their screen on their phone and they'll scroll up through it. And over the course of like 30 seconds of scrolling, they'll see the same ad copy 3 or 4 times, but different accounts marketing it to them. And I'm like, that is insane. I'm like, can you go into the little bit more of the weeds on that? Like, why do marketers do that? First off, I know, but I think your explanation would be far better than mine. And for agents that are just not as familiar with Facebook ads or online advertising or marketing in general, why is that a bad thing? Might seem obvious, but I think it's a good question.
So there are two tactics that I see as the most common. And I will tell you, I am working with two different rather large agencies that are experiencing two like similar problems, but also different. So the first agency, they had their Facebook page connected and everyone in their company on the Facebook page. The marketer was running ads to their assets. The marketer was doing shady things and was running non-compliant ads. Of course, they didn't know. They didn't even know how to go in and look at it. Their entire team got banned from running ads, not the ad account, at the IP address level. I'm telling you, and I'll tell you who they are off camera. Like they're a group, you're going to be like, oh, they're a very well-known group. They've got 5-star Google reviews. Like they're like that. I'm like, you guys are the nicest people in Facebook jail I've ever met. Like their whole team. So we are trying to figure out. So now what they have happening is they have another marketer that's been running ads for them, doing it the normal way that I see in your industry. This marketer creates a dummy Facebook page that he owns. He creates a dummy ad account that he owns. It has a very generic name, no profile picture or anything. And then they're running the same AI ads. It's an AI person talking about final expense or Medicare, private insurance. They run it there. And then they're just giving them the leads basically. And that's one approach that I see a lot, is that they will set it up on a dummy page. So that way the marketer has control of it. So if you break up, they take all the assets with them. They've got a seasoned account that they can pop in another agent in on their generic, like healthy senior insurance or whatever generic title. And they'll reuse those very seasoned ad accounts for other agents.
Yeah.
So the getting out of jail free. So that's the one group. And then I have another group that they just parted ways because who they're working with wouldn't move the assets into their assets. They were running it. We dug in and the marketer was running it in their ad account. So the marketer owned the data. So they can just churn and burn and do whatever they want with this account. So you want it set up compliantly. That's the most important thing. You want it compliant. You want to know that you're running compliant ads. And this one group that's in Facebook jail that we're figuring out some ways to try to get them out of it. Their current ads right now are asking for zip code. I've told them I'm not going to be associated with your ad account, and we're not going to run these ads until we're not asking for zip code, because I'm not going to be a part of not being compliant. So being compliant, like we're going to play on their playground. We got to know their rules. Don't mess with IRS, CMS, or Meta. Like that's the big three, right?
Yes, 100%. Those are the big three that cause terror in my life. I have nightmares. But no, I mean, one thing I've always loved about your trainings is, so many trainings are so focused on, building the ad and optimization of the ad and things like that. But, you go over all that as well, for sure. But you also take the time to talk about what you just talked about, which is being compliant. What does not being compliant look like? What can it do to your account? How do you actually be compliant step by step? And setting up your ads account properly, making sure it's completely set up, totally built out. People don't think about that as enough, because if your ad account's not built out properly, platforms across the board will reward you for finishing your profile or making sure that everything is added that needs to be. I was doing a training the other day on Google My Business, and same thing, like your Google My Business page is just by definition going to be less visible and less optimized if you're not filling out like 2/3 of the customization it's asking you to about your business. Because the more Google knows about your business, the more comfortable it's going to be sharing it to other people, right? So it's just the simple things, I feel like at times, that people miss and they don't do, that hurts them. And I think an ad account is no different. So, and you do such a good job of like making sure that's not glossed over, even though it might not be the sexiest part. It's important for sure.
Yep, I agree. In the course, the first module is all about getting the back end set up. And I even say you only have to do this once. We got to set up your house. We got to build the foundation properly. And then I'm going to show you how you can give the key to the different parts of the rooms. If you bring on a team member and you don't want them to have access to your ad account, but you want them to be able to post on your page or reply to comments, you only need to give them a key to that part of your asset, and so on. Or you can get on the course and then you can make the decision to have a private ads coaching meeting with one of my ads coaches, and they'll set it up for you and with you. So that's an option that some agents are like, I just don't want to deal with the back end. And then you jump into actually learning how a campaign works and how to read the data and how to make sense of it all. And the mystery, it doesn't have to be a mystery. It's not as complicated as a lot of marketers would like for you to think.
Yeah. And I think I've heard marketers say what you mentioned a little while ago countless times. And I've always thought it was the dumbest thing that they say, and that is, you should just focus on knowing insurance. Like, you're an expert in insurance. You shouldn't try to be an expert in this and that and this and that. And like, it's not saying you have to necessarily be an expert. Like, you don't need to be an expert to run ads. Like, you can be dangerous and not necessarily like be counseling people, right? You don't have to be Shauna to be able to run your own ads. I'm not Shauna, I'm pretty dangerous running some ads, so like, I've always found that to be such an interesting kind of argument when it comes to running ads. It's like, let us handle this, da, 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 da. But like, even if you wanted to bring somebody in, right, internally or externally to run your ads, the value you get from doing it yourself first, and at the very least, having a working knowledge of it helps you so much, because then you can spot when things are not being done correctly, right? Like, if you're just totally naive, like, you are 100% at the mercy of whoever's running it for you. And that's not good, like with what I know about running ads, even though we've hired employees to help us run them, take things off my plate. But I will always be able to take a look at the ad and be like, I don't think that's right. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know about that. Like, if there was ever something that was like some funny business, like, I've spent the time learning, educating myself, running my own ads. And so like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, by doing that, if you do bring in a marketer later, they can't pull the wool over your eyes. You know what I mean?
And there is so much wool pulling in this industry. It was something that it still surprises me. I guess I'm less surprised now because I've seen so many like large agency accounts spending $25,000 to $100,000 a month doing things completely wrong, and they're still getting results. So let me tell you, that was one thing when I was doing an audit when we first went into Meta special ad category. The marketer had set it up completely wrong. This group was spending about $30,000 a month, and they were running, I was looking specifically at a final expense ad, and they had it set up incorrectly. They did not have the age included, right? So this is when you could include the age. And I looked at the breakdown, and their ads were still, after they had been serving for about a month, started reaching a senior population because the algorithm caught on to it. So just making a few optimal changes is going to completely transform their results. So you'll be able to look at the metrics yourself. It's not hard. There's 350 different metrics in the back end of the ads manager. You're going to learn the 15 that matter most to you. I show you how to customize your columns so you can read that data. And then there's 4 metrics that actually mean the most to you that you're going to be looking at about 15 minutes every other week after you kind of get ads up and serving. So your ad still can get in front of the right demographic. It might not happen within 48 hours, and which is very stressful to some agents. They want the instant results. And that's why I'm always super honest and transparent that it can take a little time, but you absolutely can get there for sure.
Yeah.
You'll always know why your cost per lead is what it is after enrolling in this course, whether you're seasoned or you're brand new.
I love it. Shauna, I want to respect your time. On the show, we always go into final thoughts when we close out an episode. It's basically like summarizing kind of, any parting words you want to leave to the audience. I'll go first, and then I'll kind of turn it over to you. So guys, my final thoughts on episode 63 of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast is, it is such a it is such an asset to be able to learn how to run ads and how to market, even on a lower end level necessarily. Like, let's say, you don't want to be this, extremely sophisticated digital marketer, right? But knowing enough to run some ads on your own and get some new clients is really a valuable resource that will come back and pay dividends for years and years to come. I started running Facebook ads 2018, 2019, something like that. But we didn't start running ads in a real way until 2020. We were just kind of like experimenting with it. But like, so probably 6 to 7 years, that knowledge will always be worth, it's invaluable for my company, and so I would highly encourage you to, if you are struggling, you're running ads, you're not getting the results, or maybe you just want to get in, you don't know where to start, definitely consider taking a look at Shauna's program before the discount that she's offering expires at the end of this week. Again, I endorse it. I am a member, and I think Shauna does a fantastic job. So make sure that you consider that if you wanted to really level up and learn a little bit more on how to optimize your ads properly in the current environment of meta ads. So, Shauna, I will pass the mic over to you and let you kind of close out with some final thoughts.
Perfect. Yes. Well, if you guys do click on that link that Christian provided, there's a video at the top where I break everything down. You can actually learn what a lead generation ad is, see what's inside of the course. And you also get a sense of my teaching style because I'm a very visual learner. So I typically will have slides, I'll have a walkthrough, I'll have a guide, I'll have images. I want to give you all of the things so that way this course transforms you into your own lead generation expert. This isn't the quick get your ad up and just follow what I'm saying. I want you to understand why and how you're doing it because it's so much more than just generating leads. It's about having the freedom to grow your business on your own terms. And as Christian was saying, understanding the things that are going to help grow your business, and nothing's more important than marketing, is going to give you the foundation to withstand all of the changes that not just Facebook ads are having, but in your industry and then just our culture as a whole, as we have this AI revolution and information overload that's coming in. Start building your brand. That's going to be my final thought. Build your brand. Don't be a secret agent where no one knows you're an insurance agent. Make it become a part of who you are, what you offer, so that you're viewed as an advisor, because we can't live without advisors. We can get information elsewhere. So take the control in your hands. That's what I would say.
I love it. Thank you for coming on this morning, giving us some of your time and sharing some insights with the audience here. You're welcome back anytime, as I think you know. Anytime, we'd love to have you back on. Hopefully next time Glenn can be here.
Yeah, I love nerding out with Glenn. He's great to talk about this stuff with.
I know. I feel like he's been ducking you.
Yes. I haven't seen him in the last two. You're right.
I know.
That's okay. I'll see him in Salt Lake City. I know where he'll be. So
you can pin him down and make him answer for that. No, I do not think he's ducking you. I think it's just been coincidental. But guys, if you enjoyed the show, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Whatever platform you might be listening to us on, please do us a favor. If the platform allows you to do it, like, comment, subscribe. If the platform allows you to comment, such as the Facebook group, YouTube, please comment #team_replay if you watch the replay of this. We found out that about 75% of the viewers watch the replay. Pretty wild versus live. And make sure that you comment on one comment on each live stream of the podcast throughout the week. Each comment you do on each live stream enters you in for one potential spot for a giveaway for Freebie Friday. On Friday, Glenn mentioned yesterday that we were giving away another batch of 100 MedSup leads on Friday this week, to 10 apiece, to 10 lucky winners. We met with some agents that are partnered with us actually in Nashville, and one thing they said was, they're like, we never win anything, and we've won like 5 things, in this year from Freebie Friday. So make sure that you get in on that. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Here's to your abundance and success. Appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.